Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is April the 1st, 2026. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day to ya. Hopefully you humped and didn't get humped. Unless that's what you're into, then by all means, have at it, my little rabbits. But no, me and mine, it's been a good day. It's been a solid day. We got up, we got to work. Work was solid. I got to, yet again, spend another whole day at the crusher. It wasn't quite looking like it. The work was looking pretty late, but I was able to stretch it out. It also was an interesting food day. I got to eat some free yummy food. So this was for celebration for Eid last week. So they had a bit of a food celebration, very much like the Taste of Sanmar. Actually, I didn't participate in this last year, if memory serves me correctly. It kind of wound up starting at a later time in the day, and I wasn't sure if it was like a kind of more of a communal thing in terms of like people who just participated in Eid, did the whole Ramadan thing. So I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to, I want to be a big hungry like that. So I was like, no, I won't bother. And I almost did it this time, but I saw that like various people had like trays, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna see what's up. And I'm glad I did, because I got a whole helping of food. So let me do a quick little brief rundown. And this won't be very specific because I didn't know exactly what I got. But there was some chicken. There was a nice like beef that they had. Then there was some two kinds of rice. One of the rice was like a fried kind of rice with meat in it as well. I believe I got beef. And then some noodles, as well as like a sauce. And I think there was like two kinds of sauces, an egg roll, and then there was a cake and like a fritter. And the fritter wasn't necessarily like a sweet thing or whatever, but they were just served together. I was like, hey, I'll take it. No problem. Thank you so much. And I wolfed all that down on a 15-minute break, and it was very yummy, very good. But post work, we went to the gym. Gym was good. I will say, actually, before I went to the gym, I had to make a stop at home. Bad pattern is forming, I guess. But, I had a bit of the, downtown push downs. And I didn't want to do that at work again. And I didn't want to go to the gym and do it. So I was like, yeah, let's just take a quick little break at the house. Which, in a way, it did affect the workout, made it a little bit shorter. But it was busy enough at the gym that I didn't mind it. I more or less got everything I wanted done, a bit shorter on the cardio, but hey, we'll take it. Post work, I came home, I had a stretch, I had a snack, and then I actually had a shower before. Normally, I like to take my shower after I'm done podcasting, after I'm done cooking, just because it's at the very end of the day before I hop into bed. So I'm like, awesome, great. But I don't know. There was something about the trash today. Like, I think it was the composite trash for sure. Sometimes I just get a bad dumpster that's stinky and that kind of gets on you and it kind of sticks to you. But this was like middle of the day. I just kind of smelled a smell that smelled smelly. It was just really bad. And I could tell that it like latched on to my aura. And I was like, oh, I got a stink aura. I got a stinky cloud rocking around. I don't like it. So, when I finally got home, like, for good for the day, I was like, I'm immediately showering. I'm not going to wait until post pod. So yeah, now we are all nice and clean and ready to yap. So yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into the news. Actually, I have a bit of correction update. I guess while we're getting set up, I misspoke. I misinterpreted. I thought the Supreme Court hearing on the birthright certificate thing, or the birthright citizenship, I'm sorry, was yesterday. And it explains why it was so hard for me to find any information on it, because it didn't happen till today. So that's where we're going to start off at first. All right. From the Associated Press, highlights. Supreme Court cast doubt on Trump's order on birthright citizenship. So I really don't want to read here too much. To me, it's all kind of yada, yada. But it is worth noting that this was big enough, pressing enough to Donald Trump that he actually showed up. I thought he had showed up before for a Supreme Court hearing. I think he's just like hinted that he would, or like kind of like was trying to act like he would and then didn't. I know he has for Congress stuff, but this was when he actually sat down. And even so, you still had, a good number of people that he put on the bench saying like, yeah, we don't like this. Like you're going to have to give us a better reasoning than what you're giving in terms of like the people who are trying to push for the Supreme or for the birthright citizenship to be overturned, changed. It seemed just on my cursory view of what I gathered, Clarence Thomas was the only one who was kind of like revving to go on this shit, who was like really down to clown to really switch things up. So that might bode well. I would really like to see no changes to birthright citizenship. It just makes sense that if you were born here, you are an American citizen. It's just so clear cut and easy. And once again, you kind of have to go over the river and through the woods to make something else make sense, in my opinion. And a quote unquote common sense administration era that we're supposed to fucking be in. But hey, whatever. We'll see how that shakes out in months to come. But yeah, let's get on to the rest of our episode. Once again, from the Associated Press. A U.S. journalist was kidnapped in Baghdad and a search is underway. An American journalist was kidnapped Tuesday in Baghdad, and Iraqi security forces are pursuing her captors, Iraqi officials said. The journalist was identified as freelancer Shelly Kittleson by one of the outlets she worked for. A U.S. official blamed the Iran-backed Iraqi militia Kataib Hezbollah. The Iraqi Interior Ministry confirmed a foreign journalist had been kidnapped, but didn't give more details. Two Iraqi security officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak publicly about the case said the kidnapped journalist is a woman and a U.S. citizen. They said that two cars were involved in the kidnapping, one of which crashed while being pursued near the town of Al-Hawassa in Babel province, southwest of Baghdad. The journalist was then transferred to a second car that fled the scene. The Interior Ministry said security forces had launched an operation to track down the kidnappers and intercepted a vehicle belonging to the kidnappers that overturned as they tried to flee. One suspect was arrested and one of the vehicles used in the kidnapping was seized, but others remained on the loose, the statement said. The two Iraqi security officials said the journalist was abducted in central Baghdad, Sadoun Street, and that an alert was sent to all checkpoints leading to the pursuit of the kidnappers as they headed toward Babel province. Al Monitor, a regional news site covering the Middle East, said it was deeply alarmed and identified the journalist as Kittleson, a freelancer who contributed to the publication. So there's some more details for the rest of this, but pretty shocking news, pretty scary. Hopefully, more details will come up. Maybe there will be some kind of, negotiation, ransoming process. I don't even know. This is very different because usually you have some sort of political, I feel like what's the word I can use, subterfuge, play at hand where it's like, hey, we're saying this journalist did something illegal and we're going to hold them. We might not even charge them, but they're going to be detained indefinitely. Who knows? Some kind of thing happens and then you start the process of saying, hey, we want to get this person back. Let's get them back. This is just a stone cold, we're kidnapping a motherfucker and we're taking them and you didn't get us. So now we're in the wind. Who do you call now? Liam Neeson? So, I'll definitely try to keep y'all posted on any more that I hear coming off of the story. But that's all I got, currently. But let's move on. Actually, I'm going to, it's a bit local, going to Columbus, C-Bus, from ABC 6. Our man shot, killed by police at North Columbus bar. A man died after being shot by police in North Columbus on Tuesday night at the Moose Lodge, 1427 on Schrock Road. No officers were hurt during the incident. Columbus Police Sergeant James Fuqua with the public information unit said officers went there after 10 p.m. after a man described as irate entered a private club with a gun. The man blew past the bar's doorman and demanded a drink at the bar. He hit the buzzer and no one recognized him, explained Dan Boots Longnetti, Moose Lodge trustee. One door guy said, "Can I help you?" He said he wanted a drink. He forced his way in. Since he's not a member, we asked him to leave. Eventually, the man exited but remained agitated outside. The lodge's staff said they sought shelter inside the kitchen. They feared for their life because the guy was out of control, Longnetti said. Patrons told ABC6 the man had held a gun to a member's head and his own head. The lodge's staff said they had never seen the man before that night and believed the bar was randomly targeted. Officers arrived, and the man refused several commands to drop the gun, Sergeant Fuqua said. Multiple officers fired, striking him. He was taken to Riverside Methodist in critical condition, but died. So yeah, I mean, this is a pretty unfortunate story. It's pretty sad. It feels like there's a bit of mental health at play, but in America, I mean, hey, you can also just sprinkle on a little firearm in there, and then things can get even crazier. It's not the first time we've covered a story of a guy in a bar with a gun. In a way, silver linings, this is kind of one of the, I hate to say it, it's so fucking grim to say, but the better case scenarios because he didn't blow a guy's head off. But sadly, I mean, he died, but I don't know. I don't want to sit there and speculate and do all blah, 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 because that doesn't do anything. That doesn't help anything. But yeah, I mean, in a way, this is closer to a better case scenario, I guess. And in America, that just kind of how that shit pans out. No, I don't know. But yeah, we're moving from one story to another. Let's keep bouncing. Let's keep moving. From Complex, Billie Eilish. I never get her name right, I'm sure. Is it Billie Eilish? Billie Eilish? We're going to say Billie Eilish for today. Billie Eilish stalker dies after being struck by Long Island Railroad train. A man who once prompted Billie Eilish to seek a restraining order after repeatedly appearing outside her Los Angeles home has died after being struck by a Long Island Railroad train. According to Vice, Pernell Rousseau, 30, was hit by an eastbound LIRR train on Westbury, in Westbury, New York, at approximately 5:38 p.m. on Wednesday, March 25th. Rousseau, a Farmingville resident, was reportedly jogging near the tracks when the collision occurred. Law enforcement sources told local media that investigators believe the incident was accidental. Now, can I take a pause here? And this is aside from the stalking part, the Billie Eilish part. I'm just talking about joggers. Do I have any joggers who listen? I'd really like to know, is that like common that if you have like a local railway or something like that, that you like running on that, you're like alongside that? That doesn't seem like good terrain, right? And this isn't me speculating or thinking anything more than what it is. I'm just actually curious because I'm not a runner. Like, my running era came and went in the gym on a treadmill, and I'm back to walking, okay? I am not a runner in any way, shape, or form. So the idea, and also anytime I've been like near a train, I've never wanted to even walk near it, just because I'm always like scared of some random rock hitting me or something or whatever. You know what I mean? The worst case thing can happen. I don't want to get Final Destination. Do you feel me? But maybe runners are just built different. Maybe some people are just built different in general, and they're like, no, I like walking near the, in the street on the side of the road. I don't know, man. That's not my style, but maybe it is somebody. So I'm curious. But let's see. Let's get back to the story. The death immediately resurfaced Rousseau's connection to Eilish, whose family spent days dealing with him outside their home in May of 2020. At the height of COVID-19. Of the COVID-19 pandemic, Rousseau allegedly appeared at the property 7 separate times over a 2-day period. Surveillance footage and court filings show that he repeatedly rang the bell, paced outside the gate, and refused to leave even after Eilish's father told him through an intercom that he had the wrong address. When Rousseau returned later that night, Eilish's family called private security. According to the singer's restraining order, he remained on the porch while waiting for them to arrive. While we waited for security, Mr. Rousseau remained on our porch, sat down, and began to read a book while also continuing to engage in a periodic monologue. Eilish wrote in court documents. My father repeatedly asked him to leave, but he refused. So yeah, obviously all that's very unfortunate, very scary in a pandemic era, no less. I'm sure that heightens it up. Also, they go on to mention in the article too, there was another guy who had a whole restraining order, or that she had to put a whole restraining order against. That's unfortunate. People are scary. People are cringe. I know we covered that Rihanna story, I want to say a few weeks back. That's also something that's going through the courts, but hearing details about that were crazy. Like, she was like starting up a beef with Rihanna in her head, but then putting that online, like putting this inner monologue war that she was having with celebrities. Like, I think she even got into it with her, not current partner, but like an ex of some sort, but might be like baby daddy situation. I don't know, whatever. But essentially saying like, you gotta renounce Rihanna and all her work type shit. And it's like, once you hear that, you're talking with someone who is on the brink, maybe beyond the brink, and who knows if you can save them. So yeah, shit like that's scary. People like that was scary. But granted, technically that's neither here nor there. As far as we know, this guy was just on a jog next to a train and then got stuck or something. I don't know. I don't know. I would like more details. I kind of don't think I'm gonna get them. But if I do, I would definitely come back and maybe we'll yap a little bit more on this. But anyway, let's move on. We got a recall. I was about to say Ricola, but that's not a thing, and that wouldn't have been funny. But I wanted to say it. Man, I still keep seeing Kristi Noem articles and shit. Shit's going crazy, dude. The bimification, dude, is crazy. Anyway, from People magazine. Thousands of pizza and bread products recalled due to metal fragment contamination. Here's what you need to know. There's metal in the food. A food recall affecting thousands of ready-to-eat pizza and bread products has been issued after health officials warn they may contain metal fragments. Food manufacturer Bakavar voluntarily initiated the recall on January 19th, according to a release from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The recall was classified as a Class 2 recall on March 23rd, meaning the products could cause temporarily or medically reversible adverse health consequences, per the FDA's website. The recall stated that the issue was traced back to slow-roasted tomatoes supplied by an ingredient vendor, which were found to potentially contain metal fragments. The recall impacts more than 25,000 cases of products, including HelloFresh basil pesto and mozzarella pizza, and roasted tomato and Parmesan focaccia bread, sold under several brand names. There are 10 states. We're not going to go through them, and then we're also not going to go through any of the lot names. There's several, places that, get hit here. There's Trader Joe's. There's Harris Teeter. Never heard of HT Traders, but that's a thing, I guess. Fresh and Simple. Fredericks by Meyer. Focaccia, which is a multi-brand, and then HelloFresh Pizza. All were brands that were affected. And you know the deal. If you got a product like this, go ahead and, hit the Google, hit the websites, check to see if there's some overlap. If you've got the receipt, go ahead and get your refund. Go ahead and get maybe an exchange or some sort. Or if not, maybe you can't, whatever, just scrap it. It's not worth it. You don't want that heavy metal pizza. It's not going to do you any favors. That's for sure. All right, we have one more story that I wanted to go off with, and it's a bit of good news. And I really wanted to wait for it to be good news but hey, if it wasn't, then I guess I'd be coming with some bad news. But anyway, we're going to blast off. We're going to take off. But before we do that, let's take our last break. Okay. From CNN. Artemis 2 launches on historic mission around the moon. Artemis 2 begins its journey. 4 astronauts blasted off from Kennedy Space Center in Florida this evening on a monumental 10-day mission to circumnavigate the moon. About the astronauts on board. The mission crew includes NASA's Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, and Christina Koch, along with the Canadian Space Agency's Jeremy Hansen. So this is a very big event. There's going to be a black man. There's going to be a woman. There's going to be a Canadian. We got all walks of life in this motherfucker. Also, it's interesting to kind of see people be like, I don't know. I feel like you're trying to get this tempered response, especially because of the political climate of saying like, hey, want to acknowledge this is a very monumental thing, but not in like a DEI kind of way, but like as in like this is just a big, leap for mankind kind of way. Like, yeah, space, yeah, go humanity. And I feel like it's a shame that you kind of have to like hit that medium right now. But I mean, hey, it is cool. And I feel like this is technically something we've kind of talked about was like a part of our plan. This isn't putting anyone on the moon, but it is a step to that process, as it is a step on the road to getting a crew of people to actually get on the moon. So then we can start doing more things and maybe even start, contemplating, figuring out how to do more things like mining, more things like maybe like having like drops or station points type shit. Like we're really dreaming big here. It really is kind of quote unquote a whole other kind of space race, because also we have Russia, also we have China. Everyone's kind of back out in a way. I feel like especially China. But we'll see. I think this is very cool. Overall, I think this is supposed to be like the longest trek in terms of just the adventure. So this is very ambitious. Making this whole big circuitous route. But it's very cool, and I'm hoping that it goes well. I was waiting for the launch to happen, and, my fingers are crossed. I was knocking on some wood. Seemingly only that it seems like there might be a little bit of spotty communication. That might be the only issue as of now, and maybe that's already been updated as of recording this. I don't know. But it looked like things were all good. As I was watching it, I was actually able to watch it on Twitch. They were doing the shit live, which is very cool. I had October sky vibes, if you know, you know. So yeah, I was excited to see it go well without a hitch. In a way, I was kind of thinking maybe, who knows, maybe the weather might be bad. They've had delays before, so I was just I was waiting to see what was going to happen. And I'm glad, things are all thumbs up. So yay, we'll have to see it. But yeah, that's it. That's really all I have for today. I feel like we're ending on a good note, and we'll just call it quits there. If you'd like to, help out, support the effort. Oh my God. Wait. It's the first of the month. I am fucking up, and I almost forgot the newsy roll call. I'm over here about to shill, and I'm not doing my part. And normally at the beginning, that's where we do it. But hey, I'm saving this episode. All right. So shout out to my newsies. We're going to start from the top. Stephanie Renee, Mama Bear, Aaron Walden, and Kira Finsky. Also, shout out to Nail Alchemist. If you want to get your nails done, get some nice, pretty nails, Kira, she got you. Also, shout out to my homie Ryan, band Sculptor. Hopefully, they're going to be performing soon. That would be sick. I think they are. I think they do have something. I'll have to talk to him, and maybe we can do some promo there. I'll pop that up. But yes, just thank you so much for your support. It really does mean a lot. And it doesn't matter whether you're a, all-time, every-time supporter, or you just done it once or twice, thank you so much. It really does mean the world to me that you appreciate in that kind of way, at that kind of level. Obviously, I appreciate people who are just tuning in and just being homies and just, just being a part of the effort, because in a way that is a part of this too, and you're putting your hands on the wheel with me, and I think that's really dope. But just obviously a special shout out to my newsies. Mwah, to all of you. Okay. But yes, let's see, patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, Follow on Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen. Let's see. Leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. And let's see. 5 stars. Always appreciated. All the stars. Always appreciated. Let's see. But if you don't do that, that's A-okay. And you know what? It's the end of this episode, and I haven't talked about the elephant in the room, which is it's April Fool's Day. No, there's no pranks. If you know me, you know this podcast, I usually pocket or couch some rant about how I hate pranks and how I hate April Fool's Day. And I don't really want that to change. I'm going to keep on with that spotty tradition. And at least we're saying at the end, pranks suck. So don't prank people. Just be cool. Just be fun. I don't know. Be merry. Be merry on April Fool's Day. That's what I'm about. I'm pro that. Be a fool for your friends in a cool, positive way. Hopefully you did that. I don't know, whatever. That's my last little soapbox as I close out this episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.